Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome to another episode of 3 Points Perspective, the show where we talk about 3 points and we have three opinions going around. It's myself, Kevin, and Nina joining us today.
Who's Kevin? Who is Kevin? It's Kev.
Oh,
We're formal. We're very professional.
only my mum calls me Kevin when she's angry, so don't ever call me Kevin again.
I
Kev.
don't, no, I don't call you Kev. God, I never call you Kevin.
Kevin's a weird. Only people when they're angry at me call me Kevin. It's usually my mum or my missus or someone like that. So don't.
Yeah, those people where their nickname or that the shorter version of their name is basically their name, and when we call their name, like their full name, it sounds so strange. Like, who's
Well,
Kevin?
I don't like when someone calls me. I hate when someone says Kevin. I actually hate it. So
What do your parents call you when they're angry at you? Do they just call you Nina?
Huh?
Do your parents just say Nina, or do they have
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean,
longer name?
in Bulgarian, there's a couple like variations to it, like a shortened version, but it's just Nina. Like, it's not short for anything. Can't get it wrong.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, there you go, guys. Now you know a fun fact about Kev and Nina as well. There you
no
go.
worries, Alexander. No worries.
I was waiting
um,
for it.
hey, we're going to talk about the. We're going to touch briefly on the Warsaw game, very briefly. But I don't feel like there's an awful lot to say about the game. Listen, it was a good enough performance to beat Warsaw. I think that Maresca made some good changes, and ultimately they did affect the game. But I wasn't particularly entertained. I mean, I thought the first half was pretty dire. The second half, obviously, Palmer came off. I was like, "Oh my days, why are we taking our best player off?" And then we brought Madueke on, and he ended up scoring 2 goals. So I thought, fair play, Maresca. And honestly, I've got to give him credit because, um, yeah, like any player, like any player and any manager, look, if you're doing a bad job, you've got to be called out for it. And if I don't trust you, like that's one thing, and I don't trust Maresca genuinely, generally, but I thought he managed the game well, and I think his in-game management was exactly the way it should be, which is making quick substitutions to make an impact because you can't win a game just playing 20 minutes of good football. You've got to play at least one good half. And the first half wasn't that for us. So in the second half, we come back, we scored 3 goals. Sancho got 2 assists, Madueke got 2 goals, and Kunku missed the pen. And Tyreek George as well on the score sheet. So that was great to see. So overall, a solid win. We set ourselves up for a pretty easy second leg. And if we lose that, I mean, that would be nothing short of a disgrace, but
Yeah,
anything can happen. I think overall we're pretty comfortable.
this is the good thing now. Now we've got this 3-0 advantage. When it comes to next week at the bridge, we can just rest up the players because this Champions League run is more important for me than this Europa Conference League. So it gives us opportunities. Now we've started Parma and key players. Now we can get it over the line at the bridge, and it's going to be pretty easy stuff. I think first off, from what I can say, I never watched it live, but I watched the highlights of it. Created a lot of chances. Kieran Dewsbury Hall had plenty of opportunities. I think he had a header which he spurned. He had a volley which a good save by the keeper.
I know that volley just went. So the volley was sweet as a nut,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
that just went over the bar. But he had a shot at the beginning which got saved. I think that's
yeah,
the one
yeah.
you're talking
So he
about.
had about 3 chances. Sancho, me and Nina only this week was discussing the wingers and how they can impact games, and the wingers certainly had a good game. There was driving into the box. Sancho got himself 2 assists. Madueke got goals. So all the questions me and Nina was talking about at the start of the week, they answered them well. But against the opposing team, which let's be real, that if they was in the Premier League, they'd be on 0 points. We're talking about a team that they're nothing in there. So can they do it against Ipswich? They've proven to us against the lesser teams that they can run into the box, they can create things, but we want to see it consistently. There's no point doing it against Liga Warsaw, them and Ipswich or Brentford. The weekend just gone, you go missing. So it's clear to see that the second half Maresca gave them what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? He gave them the freedom to express themselves, get into the box, make things happen. It wasn't the same what we've been seeing the last few weeks, where if there's nothing on, don't try. Sancho I think he got man of the match yesterday. 2 assists, was it? Tyreek George. So you see wingers chipping in yesterday. Goals to show that they can do it. So hopefully they can take this form and this confidence into the Ipswich game, because it's not going to be an easy game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I also have watched the highlights because I was actually watching Betis and I was working on it, so it wasn't like I preferred over Chelsea, but I was watching Real Betis and I thought, if everything kind of goes as expected with the brackets, and out of Fiorentina and Betis, I'd probably back Betis to get over the line. If Chelsea obviously gets to the final, we'd probably play Betis, and that will be the toughest tests, I think. The way they played, some of the football, they could have easily scored 5-6 goals yesterday. They only won 2-0, but they create a chance of plenty. They have some great players like, Isco, like Lo Celso, Bakambu's great, Anthony, like a completely different player. So, I watched them and they actually play some good football as well. We obviously haven't been playing great football. So, from an entertainment standpoint, probably the more entertaining fixture. But Chelsea, yeah, we have made hard work of some of the fixtures recently. The Copenhagen most recently, home and away, not the best legs to watch. And, when things have been quite dull in the Prem, we've looked to have obviously some better performances in the Conference League, but that's not quite been the case. But got the job done, like Kev said, some good chances created. Deesbury Hall obviously fancied a goal on the night, didn't get one. Noni Madueke, that's the thing about Madueke is we say he shoots, he doesn't care, he will shoot, and he does it in the Prem as well. So we just need more of it. But let's be real. Someone literally said, guys, I saw so much discourse during half time about Chelsea this, Chelsea that, and what we need to do. Obviously came out and won it in the second half, but they were just like, don't bother yourself so much. It's the Conference League. We should actually be straightforwardly moving through these legs, getting to the final and hopefully winning it. And actually all focus and all the energy should be on the Premier League right now with the games that we have coming up. Ipswich obviously at the weekends. We cannot afford to make hard work of these games. They have to be straightforward wins for confidence, for morale, for belief and confidence, because we can't keep dragging through these games and hoping to secure wins. So yeah, like you say, Alex, not much to say on it overall. Seemed like a good atmosphere. Obviously, me and Kev spoke about this. We just want the first leg to be comfortable, get it secured, get it done. Don't invite the pressure for the second leg when, again, it's going to be in and between important Premier League games. So yeah, just happy, Tyreek George, nice first goal. Fair play to him. Achimpong, by the looks of it, had a good game as well. So nice to know that you have some young talent there as well. But yeah, there's not much to read into it, really, right? All focuses on the Prem.
Yeah, I mean, that needs to be the priority. I mean, that was why it was so confusing that we still didn't start some of our better players against Warsaw because we dropped them for Brentford. And yeah, the lines have been a bit confusing in that sense. We've got to talk about the striker situation, though, because that seems to be one of the big talking points at the moment. There's a number of strikers, right, that we're looking at, and there's a few different options. And I think that there's different brackets to this as well. There's who Chelsea fans want more than others, and there's also who we actually believe we can get, right? Because, I want Osihmen, I want Gyökeres. Am I actually going to get them, right? That's one conversation. The answer is that, yeah, maybe we could get them if we had Champions League. That's a big maybe still. I think if we don't get Champions League, there's no chance. And then you've got the more realistic options, which I am still quite keen on in a way. I still think that there's some really good options out there. You've got Liam Delap, you've got Jonathan David, and I know Benjamin Sesko is another name that's been floated around. He's probably last on the list for me. But overall, every striker that we're being linked with at the moment, I'm not going to sit here and say that I feel anywhere like I did or like some Chelsea fans did when we were linked with Garnacho, players like that. It doesn't feel like a really underwhelming striker that we're being linked with at the moment, which is a good thing because there is a good market out there, which hasn't been the case for quite some time. With Delap, you've got the fact that he has a little bit of experience in the Premier League. He's young. He's worked under Enzo Maresca, if I'm not wrong, with Man City. 30 million release clause if they get relegated, low wage. Jonathan David, that's a free transfer. His wage is currently lower than Liam Delap's. He's on less than 40 grand a week. So maybe another opportunity to get a free transfer like we did with Osihmen. And then Benjamin Sesko, is an informed player in Germany, very consistent, tends to finish the season off a lot better than he starts. And he scored some absolute bangers. I don't know if you've seen any of the goals he scored. He's got a real strike on him. Those are the three realistic options, but obviously we have to speak about Gyökeres. I think it'd be rude not to. Let's start with you, Nina. Out of those strikers, let's start with the three I mentioned. Who do you think is most suited to what we're doing? And then if we had to look at Osihmen and Gyökeres, how do you see those strikers coming along as well?
Yeah, it's quite important to say that there's a difference between what we might like and what is feasible to happen. And I think, and I spoke to Kev about this earlier this week, Osihmen for me is not a feasible transfer for Chelsea anymore. And I think, that ship sailed, and when we had an opportunity to maybe get it over the line, we didn't. And, it's kind of a whisper that gets carried through every window, but I don't think we will go in for an Osihmen. I think, Delap, in terms of who I would like out of those, I think, maybe Osihmen. Victor Gyökeres is probably at the top of that list. Sesko, for me, isn't someone who comes in and upgrades us. If I'm looking at someone who instantly comes in, upgrades us, and is an impact, is more of a less risk factor, I don't think that's Sesko. So he'd probably be at the bottom of that list. Delap, I'm warming up to a lot more in terms of, he's had that kind of Premier League experience now this season under his belt. He scored some goals, but it's tough because I said this to Kev. Is he a player that's been hyped a little bit extra because he stood out in this Ipswich team this season? Maybe, but then Kev made a good point saying that, maybe with a better environment around him, with more runners and players that are of his quality, he might perform actually better. So there is also that point. But, if I had to rank them, Osihmen maybe yes first, but I don't think he's feasible. Then it would be Gyökeres, then it'd be Delap and Sesko at the bottom of that list for me personally, if I had to rank them. But in terms of feasibility and what I think Chelsea would probably do and go for, Delap would be at the top of that list. Maybe Jonathan David, as you mentioned, in terms of feasibility, player profile kind of fits what we're trying to do. But yeah, Gyökeres' numbers are insane, aren't they? Again this year, and he looks quite the striker, and he definitely would fancy a move to the Prem. I think this is a good time now for him. He's had some great times, but every player wishes for it. But he definitely will be a player that wants to be in the Champions League. I think as well, he's certainly got the quality for it. But yeah, I think Chelsea at the top of their target list is Liam Delap, and they'll try and get it over. Question is, do you bring in someone else as well? But for me, Osihmen at Chelsea is just like a fairy tale that never is going to happen, in my opinion.
Do you think that's just because of the wages? Or what's happened there? Do you think that's because of the wages, or there's any other aspects?
Well, yes, I think so. But also, I just think that last year in summer, when we kind of made him sort of the top, he was at the top of our list, and we kind of went in for him at the start of the window. We knew exactly what the requirements were in terms of getting him over the line, and we knew, that he wanted obviously a permanent move. He didn't want it to be a loan. We knew what the wage demand was, and we were also quite clear on where we stood with our wage structure after it had been implemented. So I guess we were kind of on a bit of a crossroad with regarding, breaking that wage structure that we tried to implement to accommodate for the players' demands, which a lot of fans might have argued it's worth it because we really needed Osihmen. He's less of a risk factor. He is obviously a goal scorer. He's got the consistency behind him as well with 5-6 seasons there. But obviously he didn't quite fit the profile of, realistically we were going down the route of signing Nicholas Jackson's, like, make of that what you will, and maybe Delap suits that kind of category a little bit more because he's had a great season. Off the top of his back, there's potential to improve, and he's still young, so he kind of has that high ceiling. Whereas with Osihmen, they didn't maybe want to go and instantly. Although I've heard that his wages have now dropped, as in those wages will be a lot lower than what they were last year.
Why is that?
I don't actually know, but I was reading an article the other day, and I don't think it's going to be as crazy as it was last year, which is obviously maybe an opportunity. But I just think that, you had the opportunity there at the start of the window. If you really wanted to go in for him, you could have made it happen. We sort of pushed it all the way down to deadline day, and you're not going to get a player like Victor Osimhen in 2 hours before the window shuts. So just in my head, Chelsea weren't ever really that serious about Victor Osimhen, so I don't see why we would be this summer.
I'm with you. Kev, what about you, mate?
So, we'll start on Osihmen. I feel like we've missed the trick of that one. We've missed the ball with that one. It's right what Nina says. I think if we was going to get him, we would have got that deal across the line in the last phase, in the last transfer window, start of the season, where we was that close to getting him, and then we let the deal get away, and he's now playing in the Turkish Super League. It's well documented he wants to leave, and he wants a big move. Maybe Man United looking at him, another big club. So I just feel like that one is a bit too far away, and I'm sure the wage structure, it's out of our bracket. So I think with Osihmen, that one's a no. Obviously, if the wage structure wasn't a problem, I'd take him over any striker right now. I feel like him and a Nicholas Jackson. So a Jackson just playing off of Osihmen, that would be a headache for any team. That would be, because you'd have Jackson doing all the hard work, and you'd have Osihmen in the box on the back of the balls. You're aware of his tremendous leap. He could score headers, he could score tap-ins, and that's what you want. We need that in the box striker, and there's no one in the world for me who's better. Probably Haaland, I could say, that he's better than Osihmen. So, like I said, if wages wasn't a problem, I'd go for Osihmen, but I just don't feel that's going to happen now. So, unfortunately, no. Gyökeres, second choice. The stats speak for themselves. I think it's 45 goals in a calendar year. So, okay. When you consider he's playing in the Portuguese league, maybe that's the reason why. But to score 45 goals at any level, even Sunday league, it's a phenomenal achievement. He scored goals in Coventry only a couple of years ago. He was top goal scorer in the Championship.
Mate, I was at the playoff finals with Charlie when Coventry played against Luton. I had no idea he played in that game. I was like, oh my god, I actually
and who else has he played for? He's played for another team in England.
That's it, I think. I think it's just Coventry.
No. He's played for, is it Leeds? He's played for.
He played for Swansea and Brighton. Fucking hell.
Yes, there we go. So he knows,
Time.
well, he knows the UK pretty well. He knows
God.
England well.
He played for Swansea and Brighton as well.
Yeah.
Why did I not know this stuff?
He was with Son. He was with
really young. It must have been.
Brennan Johnson. Him and Brennan Johnson had a good partnership at Swansea apparently a couple of years ago. So yeah. He knows the English football well. He scored goals over here, and he's gone to Portugal, and he's continued to score goals, and he's scoring goals at the highest level. He scored goals in Champions League, and for me personally, he is a similar mold to Osihmen. He wants to be in that 6-yard box, getting tap-ins, getting close headers, and that's what we need. We haven't got that. So second on the list would be Gyökeres. Personally, I'd go with Sesko as the third choice, because Sesko gives you something similar to what
So when you
Gyökeres.
say third choice, you're putting Sesko ahead of the Lap and Jonathan David as well, yeah?
Jonathan David wouldn't even be on the list, mate. He is not what we need. He's too similar to Jackson. He's not an aerial threat in the box. Jonathan David wants to drop to the halfway line, spin, and run in behind. Jackson gives you the same thing. We need a striker which is totally different to a Jackson. And that's what Jackson gives you. Jackson wants to do all the hard work. He wants to link the play up. He wants to get in wide. We don't need that right now, Alex. What we need is someone who's going to be in the box and header. We've got all, like me and Nina said the week, just on Monday, we've got all the wingers with the ability to take players on. But it's clear to see when they cut inside and they look up, there's no one to get the box. There's no one to get the ball in the box to. So that's where I feel like we need to be aiming to get a striker with an aerial threat, and he just wants to sit in that 6-yard box and get the goals. That's what we need. So it'd be Benjamin Sesko for RB Leipzig. Third, fourth choice would be the Lap. I feel like he doesn't really give me that box presence, but he's a handful, and it's clear to see against Ipswich at Portman Road, the work rate he put in. I think one of the goals, it was a Disassi mistake where him and Hutchinson pressed and they made things happen. But another argument, me and Nina, once again, we had this conversation. Doesn't Mark Guehi do the same kind of thing? Mark Guehi, he chases lost causes, he presses. So
isn't that what they want though? Maybe that's the whole point. Is that they want strikers who do that. So
the thing, my argument is, you want strikers with different characteristics. So I like to keep talking about
the. Hey, Kev, let me ask you this though: if the system's always the same, why do you need so many players with different characters? I mean, obviously you want that, but just as a striker, for example, like Maresca never changes anything, so he just needs his strikers to be good at playing a certain way. So if they can do that, i.e. for Jackson, like you just said, Jonathan David, similar, then that to me would say that Maresca would probably like a player like that as well. Not that he's the right player, but that's what he would want.
It's just pointless, all. You got to think,
he actually come out and said, like, this is a new quote as well. He come out and said, I'm quoting him now. My perfect number 9 is exactly Nicholas Jackson. We already have a number 9. It's not summer now. If we can have a copy of Nico, it's okay. I have said many times, and you can see as well with Nico, we are a better team. Nico is the one we need. That's what he's come out and said.
Yeah, but it's just stupidity. It's just look. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see where the problems lay. Yeah, we haven't got in-box presence. Okay, and like I said, we'll go back to what I was saying a minute ago. Look at Man City, example of them. When they brought Haaland into the team, yeah, look how much that changed the way they play, because it wasn't just play at the back. They had the license then for Edison to hit it right across, because they had that striker that was going to get in behind and get into the box. What you seen them is the likes of Jack Grealish. He wasn't always cutting the ball back. He was wanting to get crosses into the box because they've got the aerial threat. And his first season, how much headers did Haaland score? And we haven't seen that with Man City. Man City are usually the ones that like to play how we play now, recycle the ball and wait for openings. But when they had Haaland, it totally changed the way they play football. And you can't just be dependent on the same way of playing football, because you're seeing it on a weekly basis. When teams sit deep, we have got no box presence. So the ball's not going into the box enough, and we're not creating chances, we're not scoring. So if you're going to go and get another striker with the same characteristics as Jackson, you're just wasting money. Because you're going to bring off Jackson, you're going to bring on David, and they're going to give you the same thing. They're not going. Jackson's in the box, and Neto doesn't want to cross the ball because Jackson's not good in the air. He's not an aerial threat, and we're seeing it all the time. The wingers are not wanting to get the ball in the box because they haven't got presence. So that is key for us. I feel like we need box presence. So you can 1 minute against different teams, you change up. Teams that play the high line, you play Jackson. Teams that play in the box, you're going to have a Sesko, someone to get the ball into to make things happen. Can you see I'm getting through it? So you can change the system to what teams play. You can't just go ahead with the same player. It's not rocket science, mate.
It's not rocket science, mate.
I love it, Kev. I love it.
It's not rocket science.
It is to Maresca, it seems.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know, though. No, I was just going to say about Delap, like, you know, I think hype around certain players sometimes can be amplified by the lack of performance from other centre forwards in the league. For example, this year, like Haaland, to his standards, has not been scoring as many goals as he, you know, has in the past. Arsenal, if they want to call Havertz their striker, again, the numbers, you know, haven't quite been there. Isak has been great. Chris Wood has been great, but you know, you kind of look at Delap, and because he's hit higher numbers and you compare him to sort of other strikers in the league, or like your classic kind of centre forward, you could say he has done quite well. Again, thanks to maybe the drop off of some of the other players in the league. And again, maybe some might praise him for doing it in an Ipswich team, and again, making them look a little bit better, giving them higher chances of being competitive. But I just do think that perhaps the drop off in some of the other centre forwards numbers have elevated Liam Delap's a little bit. So we kind of walk away with this feeling that he has been one of the best strikers, one of the best forwards in the league. And I think he's been great, and I don't want to take away from his game, but I just think, you know, that there is someone that could be better, and we should, as Chelsea Football Club, be able to go out there and afford to have another Lukaku moment, obviously without the 100 mil, but you know, do you know what I'm getting at? Like, I think it is time that we do stray away from this kind of profile and just go for once and go in for the more difficult signing on paper, if that's, you know, what it appears to be for Chelsea. Just, you know, go and do it. Or at least, the thing is, like, I'm not interested in bidding wars, and I know we're always linked with everyone and anyone, and, you know, we will get thrown into the mix with whoever else is going in for a player just so we look, you know, lively. But actually, it just does seem that Chelsea just do have a list of players that, you know, they won't go away from walking into a transfer window. And as much as we want to be linked with so and so and so and so, if we're going into this window thinking, yes, we will sign Delap, no matter who we're linked with, we will just be going in for Delap, if that makes sense. And yeah, I don't know, it's not the most exciting, but, you know, better with Delap than without, I guess, if it just comes down to that at the end of the day, right?
That's the ultimate thing, and that's you see, that's where I don't have a problem with the signing of Delap. Is we are a better team for it. Just like when we signed João Felix, I thought we were a better team for it. Like, you can think what you want about the player, he helps us. Yeah, as a depth option, he's a good player to have. We look at Palmer struggling with injury. Would have been fucking nice to have João Felix in there, but we shipped him off to Milan. So obviously you've got to bring the players in, you've got to have the depth, then you've got to keep the players happy. So that's where the manager comes in, the system and the game time, all these things obviously carries some weight. I mean, my opinion on Maresca after Warsaw hasn't really changed. I think he made some good in-game tweaks, which certainly helped us. But I'm not convinced that he is the man to lead Chelsea forward. I'm not convinced. And look, like anything, I'm saying convince me, please do it. But, you know, number one, you know, is the goalkeeping situation for me. Number two is, you know, the style of play and the intention of the style of play, because possession is a great thing if you've seen it work, right? And we go back to Maurizio Sarri at Napoli. We saw what that was like, and that's what we wanted to bring to Chelsea. That's why we hired him. Success would have been a part of that. He did win a trophy, good, you know, Europa League in his first season, and he got us to a Carabao Cup final. So in a lot of ways, you could say that, you know, we could have really pushed on in that second season, but it wasn't meant to be. With Maresca, I just don't see what I'm looking for here. I mean, how am I supposed to judge his football when I've only ever seen it at the Championship? And then you say, well, what does he say in the press? And I don't particularly find that inspiring. So
he's been told what to say, though, Alex, isn't he?
Well, that's even worse, Kev. That's even worse. And that's not a Maresca problem. That's an ownership and board of directors problem, which, you know, obviously we have spoken about. The club is just running in a totally different way. It used to be under Abramovich. Thomas Tuchel said it himself. You know, he loved the fact that he could just work. Like, just leave me alone. Let me do it. And it seems to be the total opposite now. Bowley's quite hands-off, but Ekvali is really, really hands-on. with everything, because ultimately he needs this to work from a financial perspective. He's not looking to stay in Chelsea for a long time. He's in private equity. He wants to get out and make his money, which is absolutely fine. That's what he wants to do. So yeah, I mean, Maresca's obviously dividing opinions from a lot of fans. Kev, I haven't really spoken to you about Maresca much. Like, what do you think about him?
A bit stubborn sometimes with his style of play, and I made again. I hope we go back off what me and Nina talked about. What happened? You probably didn't realise it, but the last 10 minutes of that Tottenham game, what were we doing? What we haven't, which I've been saying all season, can we do? We was getting the ball, and Sanchez was kicking the ball right up into Tottenham's half, and we're trying to make things happen. So it's clear to see this play at the back football is all him. He tells the players the tactics and what to do, and he must have said to them, if we've got a 1-0 victory or short lead, just kick the ball up, stop this play at the back football, and kick it up and make things happen. And it's taken him up to this point to realise that this play at the back football, can't keep doing it because teams will clock onto it and they're going to press you. And how many goals have we given away? How many opportunities have we given teams just through this play at the back football? Because it hasn't really worked. I feel like with the shape as well, I think the wingers haven't been given enough opportunities to express themselves. I feel like he tells them, he must be telling them, Madueke, if there's nothing on, come back, recycle the ball. And it's the same, it's just, they're not expressing themselves. I think last night against Warsaw, they expressed themselves and they got goals and they got assists. And Sancho, he played well. Madueke got goals. So he needs to tell them to do it consistently. So I feel like the tactics, it's kind of killed the team. But on the flip side, it's a lot more structured. From what we've seen last season, the Pochettino, it was a total mess. From defensive set plays, counter attacks coming our way, everything was a mess. I just feel like he's kind of got it together a bit more. It's more structured, but I feel like the style of football is way too structured. I feel like they need to express themselves, but the players need a bit more freedom and to be able to swap positions and get into areas. So if we can change that a little bit more for next season, I think it'll impress a lot more fans. But the way we're going at the moment, I think fans are getting bored of it. Against Brentford again, I'm hearing a lot of fans saying it was a boring game. Yeah, against Arsenal as well. Wow, it's just so backwards football. So football, it's not a hard sport. Football's just get the ball, run with the ball, make things happen. Not just pass. Like 76 possession is not important when you're not creating opportunities and scoring goals. I'd rather say, you know what? Yeah, that's what it is. He wants the team, the manager, he sets the team up to play that way. So, and it's getting boring. I'd rather see us have 40% possession and have more shots on goal or create more opportunities rather than, what it is with Maresca style of football. It's keep ball and they're waiting for opportunities and gaps to open rather than run with the ball, get into positions. It's more, we'll keep the ball, try and drag players out, and if a player makes a run, try and put him in. Why not just get the ball and just get the ball at the pitch and just make things happen? Like, this is football. That's how it's supposed to be played. So, I just want to see more enjoyment from what I see, from what the games are going to. I want to see more enjoyment, and that's my only argument with the Maresca system.
Yeah, I think he kind of tripped himself up when he thought initially that this and what he did at Leicester would work for Chelsea in the Premier League. And I think that's the first mistake he made because, he's a manager that clearly has this system, that he will swear by. And, he didn't upgrade it, though, to suit the Premier League because, you're not going to be allowed to have the ball. Well, firstly, we couldn't even keep the ball at the start when we tried to play Maresca's way. But even if we could, we're not doing much with it. So it doesn't really work. And, you see some of these 1-0 games against, Leicester, actually, ironically here, where it's like it works. It could work sometimes, but it's not entertaining. And, you know, people have said, oh yeah, but if you get the results, it's fine. But we should be demanding more. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've watched some very boring football under Potter, and also at times under Pochettino too. So it's just like, we actually this season knew we have quality players and exciting players on paper who could be doing so much more, yet they're not given the license to be free and express themselves in Enzo Maresca's system. So, you know, and again, I keep going back to the start of the season and our sweet patch. Well, players were just playing with freedom and we were playing well. So it wasn't actually really down to Maresca's system. Players were just excited to get out there and actually bought themselves time, because Maresca hadn't really worked out how to set up or implement his system just yet at that point. And then when he did, it all kind of, you know, went downhill for the players. So they just kind of look like an old version of themselves, and they look like a shadow of themselves. And the players that, you know, were scoring goals for fun and have gone on a bit of a drought, well, they're being asked to keep the ball too much. So they're almost like playing with this sort of like idea where they'll get penalised if they do take a shot and it ends up in the other team you know, countering us or hitting us on the break, and it's almost like they get punished for it. And, you know, it's not a wild theory to have when you do hear players say, oh, if I go long, I'll get subbed off. Well, that just tells you that, you know, there is a certain thing that you have to do on the pitch. Otherwise, you know, you won't play or you won't get picked. And of course, yes, at the end of the day, a manager's a manager, like in any workplace, and you will oblige and go by their instructions. But that's where he's kind of failed the players a little bit, because we do have the players on paper to play the entertaining football. We saw it at the start of the season. We've still got the same players, but again, they're not playing the football they did. So actually, a lot of it is down to Maresca. So I think I've hit a point in the season where I question him for the long term quicker than I questioned Potter and Pochettino for the long term. Because again, with them, it was more like, oh, it's not necessarily that I'm, you know, urging for the manager to stay. It's more of a fear of, oh, if we keep changing managers, we won't get anywhere. But with Maresca, it's like, it's not bizarre to think that Maresca is not a manager that will see Chelsea long term compete for the title and for trophies and be competitive in the Champions League. Like I said to Kev on Monday, or Tuesday, well, it's all fun getting to the Champions League and being there, but competing in it and facing the teams that you will playing this way won't really get you anywhere. So, you know, you have to ask yourself the question, is Maresca a manager that can get Chelsea playing competitive, entertaining football that blows teams away in the Champions League? You see the freedom that PSG's forwards, Barcelona's forwards play in the Champions League and how they can blow teams away. They've got the license to shoot. They don't dilly-dally with the ball and keep possession in the box when they're 4v2, right? And that's the big difference there. So when you actually look forward, it's a bit concerning.
Let me ask you this, Nina. What would you give as an excuse to Maresca then for the drop off? Like, what's the excuse?
What is in the excuse to defend him, or
yeah? I mean, I would try to be rational here. I mean, I don't like Maresca, but I'm happy to see it from all sides. I mean, you're one of the people that is backing Maresca. I'm not saying you are, but just generally. Yeah, why do you defend him? Like, what is there that you think is letting him down? How do you defend this manager?
It's hard to, like, again, with the points I just raised, it's hard to trust that Maresca long term is a manager that will take Chelsea to a next level or elevate the team, really. I think with some of the things we've seen, it's not bizarre to say that he's you know, hit a point where this is as much as he can do. And, you know, it's just hard because, again, like, we have the players to play this great and entertaining football. And, you know, I think he's so consumed by this way of playing a Pep style that, you know, City have won leagues with, that he's almost tricked himself into believing that he could do the same thing. But, you know, we're not there yet. We are still very much on a journey with these players who have and should have the license to express themselves. We've got talented wingers, you know. Yes, of course we need a striker. There are still transfers to be made, and I think maybe if you want Alex to look for a point to defend Maresca, you might say, oh, he needs a couple more additions in the squad. But with what he's had this season, it's still been more than enough to, you know, get Chelsea playing like we were at the start of the season. And I think he's massively overthought rethought it, and he strayed away from something that was working, whether it was down to the manager himself or the players at the start of the season. Well, we've massively gone away from that. And yeah, and I tell you what he'll do against the better teams that will come to play. He will stress, keep possession, get into a rhythm of keeping possession. And as long as you have the ball, we're in control. And maybe if we can walk the ball into the back of the net, maybe if, we get the ball, in the area, have a shot or something. But as long as you don't get hit on the counter, because that's not allowed, guys. We cannot cope with that. And I don't know. I want to say that it will be fine, but at this moment in time, I think I trust the players more than I trust the manager. So I'm looking to them to actually do a job. Just take shots. Neto, keep doing what you do. Take shots. Have a go. Sancho, shoot more. Do it.
Exactly.
Madueke, continue being as careless and selfish as you are, because I love it. Go for goals. Go for the shot. No, it's true. It's true. Cole
Yeah,
Palmer, keep going. You'll score eventually. Jackson, keep doing what you do. So at the moment, I have full faith in the players, and I'm hoping that they will just, go out and be fueled by this idea to get goals till the end of the season. But yeah, I have more faith in the players to the end than I do in the manager of changing something.
Fair. Do you know what, Nina? I think I have to agree with a lot of what you're saying there, and I think you make a lot of very good points. Now we're going to finish off with Ipswich, and literally five minute segment on that. Me personally, I think that this is a win. Like, I don't see us losing this game. They're on 20 points. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Wolves are 12 points in front. We know they're going down. They're going down. The question is, are they going to go down fighting, or are they going to go down, basically easily like Southampton? And I think that they'll try and make a good account of themselves. A lot of Ipswich's players, Liam Delap being one of them, looking for a move. And we've got to take this game seriously, especially if they're looking to come out and play with a low block, which is the system we hate playing against. So I think we can win this game. I think I can see us winning this match. I'd probably go 2-1 Chelsea. I can see us just having a little bit too much quality for it, so irrespective of tactics or anything like that. We've just got better players, and I think that will be the final straw. Kev, what's your prediction?
100% the win. I was looking at their results now. So they've just come off a 2-1 loss against Wolves, who obviously opened up that 12-point advantage down at the bottom of the league. They've won 2 in the last 10 games. Really bad form. I think very dispirited. I think they know they're going down, so they're just here for the cause, really. So yeah, they're there for the taking. But with this Chelsea team, you just know that they let us down when it comes to games like this. They're letting us down. Whereas the old Chelsea and the Abramovich, we'd walk over the team, and I'd have confidence. But I'm like 50-50. Yeah, like I just know, like
50-50 that we're going to beat Ipswich.
I'm 50-50 because this is how I feel it is. We should have wiped the floor with Brentford Sunday just gone. But
No,
the
I was never
Saturday,
confident against Brentford. I feel like Ipswich is
oh,
a much easier game.
it's an easier game, but still, like, you gotta take consideration. It was only a couple of months ago that Ipswich beat us
It's true.
very easily. So
They smashed
don't
us.
they
They
smashed us.
absolutely smashed
So
us.
don't get overconfident with the Chelsea team. But like I said, they were in bad form. But up until the game against us at Portman Road, they had lost every game in the Premier League. And what did they do against us? They beat us. So yeah, it's all against Ipswich, let's say, in form of everything else and quality. But yeah, it's not going to be an easy game. We've got to turn up, and like Nina said a bit ago, I just want us to express ourselves. Like, Ipswich are there for the taking. Don't go into the game with the same mentality. Keep ball, keep ball, keep ball. Just go and make things happen. Run down the line, put a crossing, have a 30-yard shot. Let's have some shots, boys. When's the last time we seen a 30-yard shot or 30-yard ball?
Caicedo against Bournemouth last year.
Yeah, end of last season.
That was good.
Yeah, well, that was brilliant moment. But I haven't seen nothing like. I haven't seen the lads just having the world of a shot or making. Just make things happen. That's what Maresca should be telling them. Just go. It's Ipswich. Don't overthink it. Don't think that you're going to win this game by having 75% possession. This game's going to be won, and how many shots how many shots you can have? How many times can you get in the box? That's what it should be now. So he's got to change the mindset of the players now, because this keep ball football is not working. We're on that Man City, because he's worked under Pep. I can see why he's got that mindset where keep the ball and stuff like that. But we're not City. We haven't got the quality of City. We've got to play our own way. We've got to play to advantage, and we've got tremendous wingers, but they've been nullified on a weekly basis because they're a bit like Jack Grealish and the way he plays. Get to the byline, turn around, cut back, pass and go around. I'm fed up of seeing it, brother. So things have got to change. So yeah, back to the Ipswich game. I thought we can win the game, but I want us to win it. I want us to win it convincingly. I want us to win it in a way where we say, you know what, yeah, 4-0, yeah, we're back again. We can go on a bit of a run. I don't want it to be like a 1-0 ball win, if you see what I'm saying. I want it to be a proper thrashing.
Right, Nina, and what's your predictions?
Yeah, I think we'll win. Even though I was just, while Kev was chatting, looked back to the 2-0 defeat. We had 76 possession in that game, guys. So if I'm Kieran McKenna, I'd say to my players, sit back, guys, and watch them suffer. Watch them suffer, and we can get something. So from that side of things, but yeah, no, like Kev said, that should be a win, nothing else. Go out there, play some good football, but we won't. It will be probably backs us up against the walls, and again, just trying to struggle. However, 3 points and get the momentum going. We need it now. It can't be up and down. But I'll go 2-1 Chelsea.
All righty. Well, listen, guys, we're gonna wrap it up there. Thanks so much for coming on, Kevin, Nina. Appreciate your time. Subscribe to Nina's channel as well, guys. If you haven't, that's in the description. If you haven't subscribed to us, I mean, come on, smash that like button as well. And let us know, do you agree or disagree with anything that we've said in regards to the striker situation? Who would you bring to Chelsea? Who do you think will actually come to Chelsea? What's your thoughts on Maresca? And do you think Ipswich will be as comfortable as we hope it will? Or are you like Kev, 50-50, not sure what's going to happen? Let us know in the comments. All the best, guys, and we will catch up very, very soon.